Right, we are almost there. We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Facebook Live here at the Vitality Project. I am Dr. Bob, and I am here with a dear soul, Eric Rogers. He's agreed to join us tonight. Eric and I are both in recovery, and we talk openly about it whenever we get a chance to talk about it. And one of the pieces that came up in a conversation I had with Eric just this last week was based on a TED Talk that we watched. I highly recommend it by the CEO, Michael Brody Waite. And what's the title of that TED Talk? Great leaders do what drug addicts do, which will get your attention. And one of the three things that he talks about there, and Eric and I talked about it, he talks about being authentic, which has a lot to do with being honest with ourselves and being transparent with others when the opportunity presents. Eric, you have an amazing story. I wonder if you'd just give us a summary of your experience here recently in terms of this job interview process that you shared with me, and then we'll tie it into this topic of being authentic.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. First,
I'm honored to have you, Eric. Honored to have you.
I'm Eric. I'm an alcoholic. I don't even know the days, but we're 27 days from a year of continuous sobriety. I'm in the world that will definitely come out, and happy anyone on here that suffers that, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I work a program for that as well. So born and raised right here in Southern California. I don't want to say that I'm different from anyone. I just think I started a little bit later in life. Was very blessed. I like to say, we grew up in an extremely comfortable family. But I lost my father to this disease at age 7. This disease has absolutely ravaged my family. I'm the only male in 4 generations to make it to my age of 43 years today. Every other male in the last 4 generations has died by the age of 39. Typical high school, typical college, really wasn't never was a drinker. And then struggled with weight my whole life. And I work in medical device sales, was one of the first people to be able to do the lap band surgery, which is a gastric band. You almost imagine it's like a rubber band around your stomach for those who don't know what it is. Yeah. And got down to somewhat of a normal weight. But that was me my whole entire life. It was, get the family, have the child. It was always the next thing that was going to solve my problem. And it was only eventually before substances were that next thing. Through those surgeries, which ended up having a gastric bypass that ended up going horrifically wrong. 22 surgeries later, I'm on life support. Family's planning on taking me off life support at one point. Ended up addicted to the opiates. And that was just basically since June of 2015 has been nothing but a downward spiral. I am, the worst part about me is I'm documented a smart person. I'm a member of Mensa. So I'm smarter than all of you, or at least I think I'm smarter than all of you. And my best thinking tells me that I will beat any solution out there. I will go find the best psychiatrist, the best psychologist. Everything's going to work for me until it came to a point where absolutely nothing worked a year ago. After fighting this program for 12 years, faking it and showing up to meetings, having sponsors. But my whole thing was about the outward projection, what people thought of me, until I was absolutely so broken and so beat down last year that I was willing to do absolutely anything. And the last year is, and don't get me wrong, there's, I don't like to look at it as negative anymore. We take a step back, maybe 2 steps back, but we always get to take a step forward. So to me, it's a constantly evolving process. And I know that if I keep doing the right Nick syndicated things, staying active in the program, doing my own internal work and outside therapy, I'm blessed enough to be able to join Dr. Bob in one of his groups once or twice a week. That'll ultimately end up in 2 steps forward. Yes. By the time I was 21 years of age, I was very, very lucky. I got into medical device sales within the plastic surgery space. I was selling breast implants to the top doctors, top plastic surgeons in the United States, working with A-list celebrities and their staff. By the age of 21, was making a mid 6-figure income. By the age of 24, 25, owned a multi-million-dollar home, had all the cars, had all the toys. The next thing was the wife. And then I have a little boy who's 11. it absolutely all fell apart, including this career the last 5 years, to the point at one point, I burnt this down so quick. I was living in my car at Walmart because I knew I could stay there without getting in trouble with the police. I mean, that's how far and how quick I went down, you know, to having everything I could possibly want monetarily wise. But I can remember even sitting in this big house and being up and having the son and having the wife and being up in my room and looking for a 1-bedroom apartment. But once those substances came into play, and once I learned that those opiates would numb out the feelings, oh, it was game on, absolutely game on. And then for someone whose brain moves 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then you introduce them to Adderall, that I could actually work 24 hours a day, 48 hours a day at times. I can even remember times I would go 3 days because I'm an absolute workaholic. But I lost that career. And it was funny, Dr. Bob and I really connected over this TED Talk that you and I talked about really quick, where I've been blessed enough to be involved in helping start a couple of businesses. So I really related to this gentleman who's a CEO of a company that he founded. And he really summed it up in 3 things. And it was, I got to make sure I even get this right.
Thank you.
It was be authentic, surrender the outcome, and do the uncomfortable work. And I actually get a little teary-eyed over this. I had an opportunity to get a dream job back 2 months ago. And I'm in the process. I'm doing very well. This was a company where I had almost 7 interviews. 4 of those were panel interviews. One of those was an interview where they put the final candidates on a Zoom call together and let us go at it. You put 7 alpha sales people on a call together, it gets ugly. But there was one question. There was 1,100 candidates that they did first round interviews for 80 positions in the total United States, 10 of those being in Southern California. And one of the questions was, and I was under the direction by my sponsor to start opening up about my sobriety and not hiding behind it, because I would only tell the people that I was comfortable with. And during this interview process, I was asked by a panel, and one of the director of HR was on this Zoom call. Tell us something that you've overcome in your personal life, and how did you do it? How would it be a direct relation to your success here at the company I'm going to work for? And Zoom call just like this. I was sitting right over there. I literally lowered my head and took a deep breath and knew where I had to go with this, because it truly was a moment to be authentic, to be vulnerable, and to really, really do the hard work. Hard work's not always therapy. Hard work's not always your 4th step. Hard work is doing the right thing, and always, as we spoke earlier, the right next indicated step, keeping your side of the street clean. And I looked up to these 4 people who ultimately, God ultimately has the power, but these people definitely had some decision in it to whether I got this job or not. And, I looked up, and when they ask that question, they really are not asking about your true personal life. They just want you to skim it really quick. And, I said, I'm active in a 12-step program. We'd already discussed why there was a gap in my resume. They knew about the surgeries. And I said, through that process, I became addicted to opiates, and basically said I'm, involved in a 12-step program, coming up on a year of sobriety. But then I directly went into, the tenacity, the honesty, the integrity, the vulnerability. I mean, I could go on and on and on with so many beautiful qualities, character assets instead of the character defects, because I'm a liar. I'm a manipulator. I am the ultimate fucking salesman. And if you open the dictionary and manipulator, it's my mugshot without a doubt. I am that absolutely good. I scare people that I'm so good at it. And I hung up that call and thought there's no way in a million years I was going to get this position. Absolutely no way. To me, an addict and alcoholic is the guy behind 7-Eleven in a box. It's not the CEO of a company that was in this TED Talk. It's not the priest that goes to my Tuesday night meetings. It's not the gentleman I met 2 weeks ago who was the past CEO and chairman of the board of a Fortune 10 company. Like, to me as a business person, that was just mind blowing to me. That just to keep defining all these people, but that's what's in my mind. That's what's in my sick freaking mind, that this is who an alcoholic, and I don't even want to be close to that person. When that person behind 7-Eleven, he's actually my best friend. Nobody gets me more than the dude behind 7-Eleven. And
That's right.
I'm pointing over there because there really is a 7-Eleven over there, and I really do talk to the 7-Eleven now because we get each other.
Yes.
And I got a call that Friday, and this gentleman who's now going to be my boss said, I don't want you to suffer through the weekend. This is your pre-verbal to your kind of verbal on Monday, but congratulations, welcome to the team. And didn't think anything of it. I was actually surprised. And Monday he called and he goes, do you have a moment to talk? And I said, I do. And mind you, I'd already gotten a call earlier in the day from Human Resources. And so I was like, oh God, like, where are we going with this? They're going to want me to go to counseling. Like, what are they going to want me to do? And he goes, I really want to commend you. He goes, the whole executive team has eyes on you. And he goes, we know you expressed in your interview to feeling, late to where you should be in your career. He goes, you have an opportunity to get caught back up really, really quick, and you've got everybody's attention. Mm-hmm. And he's been hired 20 years, and I've never seen an HR team root for somebody like they've rooted for you. Mind you, this is going behind the scenes. And he said, the level of honesty and integrity in your interview was like nothing we've ever seen. And I was like, literally, he's saying this, and I'm looking over my shoulder, like, honesty and integrity. Like, people don't say those words to me. They absolutely don't. I'm not an honest person. I don't have an integrity. I will sleep with your wife. I will take the pills out of your fucking cabinet, and then I will act like your fucking best friend, because that's what a real alcoholic does. And I was just flabbergasted that less than a year into sobriety, someone would be telling me that I have honesty and integrity. And that is an absolute direct gift of this program. And if anyone out there is sick of hearing that, like I was for 4 years, I freaking hated every single individual that stood up in front of that meeting and said those words. Absolutely despised them. Despise these individuals. But I was wrong, man. Was I absolutely terribly wrong about this? Because my problem was never the pills, the opiates, the alcohol, the women, the food. It was my own internal struggle. With many of the things that, I believe some are nature and some are nurture. But to have another human being tell me that that I just basically got a dream job, where, with no joke, when I was told the benefits package and the base salary, I literally fell off my bar stool, no pun intended. Swear to God, fell right off that bar stool over there. And so I returned the lady's call in HR the next day. And like going, oh God, what's on my background that I don't know about? Typical alcoholic in my own head that, it's all about me. God forbid it could be about, helping somebody else, which I've learned is one of the most beautiful things about that program. And I want to mention this. I know a lot of people, AA is a cult and this kind of stuff. Oh, I was the biggest believer in that. And at the end of the day, all AA is about is, cleaning up your past and helping the next person. And if that's a cult, that's the type of cult I want to belong to. And this lady from HR calls me up and she goes, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm the senior vice president of human resources. I really enjoyed your interview. And she goes, I was wondering if I could ask you a couple questions. And I'm like, here we go. This is when the offer letter will be rescinded. And she had just come from a very large tech company as a human resource director. And she goes, do you know what our largest expenses is in human resources? And I said, no, I don't. And she goes, it's drug rehab, sending people to rehab to get sober. And I said, that makes sense. It's very, very expensive. And she goes, I've noticed one thing over the last 10 years of my career. The people that effectively come back to work, and especially the ones in sales, usually excel to be our top people. And she goes, but they're all in a 12-step program, or I'm okay on here saying AA. And she goes, I just don't understand, I don't understand much about it. Can you tell me more? I said, well, what do you want to know? And she goes, well, what's the cost? And I said, there is no cost. She goes, no. Everything costs money. And I'm like, no, there's really no cost. I said, I watch people come in homeless and have a place to sleep 2 nights later. And, I said, the only really cost is an $8, $9 book, but we'll ultimately give it to you. And she was just flabbergasted by this. Yeah. And, she's like, would you be willing to go to lunch with me? We're trying to figure out how we could integrate this into a corporate world. And of course I had to respect the traditions a little bit at that time. Was willing to go to lunch, but, that's to me, that's, not only promotion, and let's not get into all that, but I think you know where I'm going with that. But to know that I possibly could be a resource at that company, I will be going to a national sales meeting in August where the alcohol is an absolute, excuse my language, shit show.
Yep.
And to know that I have the capability to possibly help someone else there that stood in my shoes, maybe before they lose it all, before they don't have custody of their son for 5 years like I haven't, hasn't had 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5, I don't even remember, 5150s, 5250s, who's been taken to mental court in handcuffs and shackles. I mean, I have real alcoholism. Real people don't have those types of things. And to think a year later after I got serious about this and was so desperate, 6 months ago, I was living in sober living. My sponsor loved this today. Sleeping in a twin bed. I've got a king size bed. I've got a beautiful apartment at Newport Beach. To think you can, and it's not just about the monetary things. They're great. Don't get me wrong. But that I've made an amends with a girl who's now talking to another guy in the program, and that I don't have to worry about these people talking shit on me anymore. Yeah. About what Eric did wrong. It's just, and I know what I wanted all those years. I didn't want the car. I didn't want the house. I didn't want the wife. Don't get me wrong. I want a wife someday. I definitely want my son. Yeah. I just wanted that inner peace and tranquility. Yeah. These character assets that you hear so much about. Do I get those every day? No. Do I get frustrated? Yeah, I was in family court today, arguing. Every day is not going to be right. But once again, it's a step forward, and I get in the morning and, very close friend of mine in the program says, we write a little, we read a little, we pray a little, we meditate a little, and then we go to bed, and then we wake up changed a little. And that's the beauty of my life right now, is every morning I get to wake up just change just a little bit from the day before. And, I'm absolutely blessed to be, as I like to say, a rubber stamp member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And this program, without a doubt, has changed my life. It hasn't been easy. I'm not going to tell anyone out there it is easy. It's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But it has by far been the most absolutely rewarding. Just to hear the words that I'm a man of honesty and integrity. It's still, I say it, like you see me, I want to look over my shoulder like, who are they saying that to? It's not me. It's just mind blowing. So thank you for letting me share. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And wow.
Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, Eric, thank you so much. This is a brilliant and beautiful and heartbreaking testimonial. It's just so moving to me. I don't have a postscript. I just want to let this be what it is.
Go.
I'll tell you what I want to do is I want to invite anybody who wants to communicate to Eric, can communicate to the Vitality Project. We're on Facebook. They can communicate through the chat, and I'll forward that to you, Eric. I want to have Eric back in maybe a couple of weeks, and we want to talk about another pandemic that's going on right now that's not so silent in our lives, but it's kind of anonymous in some contexts. And we'll have you come back to discuss that, Eric. There's nothing I can say that would enrich or expand or amplify what you've said. This is absolutely beautiful. It's the most beautiful testimonial I have ever heard.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Thanks, Eric. We'll see you again soon.
Appreciate
Good night for now, everybody.
Night.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.